welcome to you. We are extremely happy to have all of you with us. This is the 7th edition of the ICC Mutual Fund Summit. We are extremely honored to have the best of speakers from the sector with us today, and some of the best names in the mutual fund industry are here today with us. It's my pleasure now to invite our conference co-chair, Mr. Dinesh Khara, MD and CEO of SBI Funds Management.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, as far as the Indian economy and the growth story is concerned, it remains intact. Of course, the current year growth at about 4.5-4.8% is, I would say, is more of an aberration than a trend, because generally we have witnessed much better growth in the past. And I'm sure in the days to come also, this growth will be even better. The kind of steps which have been taken in the recent past, and also the kind of urgency which has been shown across the country in various reflections of the public, is that growth has got to be an agenda for any governance. So having said that, mutual fund industry per se has got a area for itself to carve out. As compared to the banking sector, this is an industry which is just about 1/10. There are certain issues relating to reach. There are certain issues relating to the skewed concentration of the mobilization of savings. But essentially, if we go back and see that what are the essential reasons, generally we would, this is an impression and this is also based on certain facts, that the risk appetite of the Indian investor is generally very low. That is a fact of the matter, and in that context, we in the mutual fund industry need to probably work out ways and means through which we can first and foremost create an appetite for the mutual fund product, and that is possible only if we have the investor confidence with us. But at the same time, when it comes to investors, there is a felt need to explain the complexities of the product, because as I said, the investor in general has got a very low appetite for the risk. We would even go to the extent of saying that investors would rather prefer a coupon as against any kind of a non-linear returns, which generally our equity products are offering. So how to build up that confidence, that's a major challenge for the industry today. And in that process, various distribution options are available, which is with the help of IFAs, with the help of distributors. But I feel that we can possibly do that if at all approach becomes investor-centric. And when I say investor-centric, which means that we need to probably profile investor and their risk appetite and offer the products which suits their requirement. Unless and until we do that, and also we probably also need to do bit of a hand holding for the investor, because when the turbulent times are there, it invariably so happens that the retail investor comes in at the peak and exit at the bottom, which further destroys the confidence of the investor and also refrain them from coming back to the investing forum once again. So I think that is one issue which we need to address, and that is possible if adequate handholding is there and adequate investor education is emphasized upon. I think these are my thoughts. Thank you.
Mr. Khara, thank you. It's my pleasure now to request our next conference co-chair, Mr. A. Balasubramaniam, to kindly deliver his theme address.
Respected Mr. Barua and other distinguished speakers and ladies and gentlemen. If you look back in the last 3 years, the industry has grown about, especially in the last 1 year, industry has grown now to a size of about 8,76,000 crores, which is about 8.5% growth. and debt as an asset class has also grown by about 12.15% growth. Because most of the times we believe the industry is not growing, but of course it is growing, but in bits and pieces. The other interesting point, which is the overall assets under management between the equity and debt and the liquid fund. And most of the time the industry has been considered or maybe or seen as something is an alternative to the equity as an asset class, which is not necessary actually. But at the end of the day, the mutual funds provides products across all type of investors, for all type of investors, and make them actually come and invest in the mutual funds. It's part of an asset allocation which is supposed to be there for the investors. In terms of top 15 cities, the contribution was something which was seen as that industry needs to do something. When India as a country and more cities are getting added to the wealthy cities, is there any reason actually why the mutual fund should focus only on top 15 cities? Why not actually they go beyond top 15 cities? I just want to end with something which we created. I thought that one of the things which need to be changed from the industry is one is an attitude, and second is the energy which need to be brought in, and third of course the simplicity from the investors' point of view what they need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are all waiting for the today's chief guest, the regulator. May I request Mr. Anand Barua, Executive Director of SEBI, to please address us.
Shakal ke abar pranam. If you see, as far as the mutual fund industry is concerned, before 1992, the framework which was there as UTI, it was set up in 1963, and after that in 1987 the public sector banks and insurance companies, they were allowed to float mutual fund. After 1993, when SEBI came into being, the field was thrown open to all type of players, whether it is a private or foreign. The framework which we have laid down is a three-tier system, where when the fund is raised in the name of trustees, it is handed over to the asset management companies, and the shares or whatever assets are there is held by the custodian. And then the trustee sees that all the activities are being done as per the objective of the offer document and also the regulations. If any violation is found, then that is reported. The thrust of the regulations has been transparency, and a lot of reports are filed that this industry people may be doing, just like compliance test report and all, which are also monitored at SEBI level. As regard this unregulated entities are concerned, this financial market is a place where, as I said, under the regulations, there will be asset, but it may be NP but asset will be there. Recently, if you know, for this gold ETF, and when there was a fluctuation in prices, when price came down, then we were worried whether this gold are there or not. Then we conducted inspections, and to our surprise we found that there are more gold than AUM. The reason was that there was some application pending for redemptions, but that was not reduced. That was showing that one. That is the beauty of the capital market. The assets will be there, and therefore if anyone who invests in unregulated entity, they have to see many things. In regulated market, we follow much more stringent rules, just like KYC, check, so that the money which is in the hands of the industry, it is not misused. With this, I would like to thank you all.
May I now request our chief guest and also the speakers on the dais to kindly release the knowledge report which has been prepared by KPMG. Mr. Barua, may I request along with speakers on the stage to please release the report.
very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special panel discussion. Our theme today, of course, is the Indian mutual fund industry, and the focus is the road towards success. Let me quickly introduce our esteemed panel to the floor. I've got Mr. Milind Barve, MD of HDFC Asset Management Limited, Mr. Balasubramaniam, CEO Birla Sun Life Asset Management. We've also got Jaideep Bhattacharya, MD Baroda Pioneer Asset Management, Vikas M. Sachdeva, CEO at Edelweiss AMC, Harshendu Bindal as well, President Franklin Templeton AMC, Mr. DP Singh, ED and CMO of SBI Funds Management, Mr. Kailash Kulkarni, Chief Business Officer at L&T Investment Management. We also have Karan Datta, National Head Sales at Axis AMC, Mr. Shashwat Sharma, our knowledge partner today, a financial partner at KPMG, and Arun Ladda, Director of GR Ladda Financial Services as well. Mr. Barve, first question to you. Let's start off with a basic question. How do you believe the mutual fund industry is poised in today's environment?
I think if you see today, the industry's assets under management on an aggregate, and I'm sure for all the players, is at an all-time high. So as a first point, it's a very good position to be in terms of total volume of business we manage. At the same time, you can't sort of deny the fact that there are some challenges in bringing retail investors back to fund products. I'm not saying they're going away right now, but I think the kind of participation in fund products that one needs to see over the next few years, there needs to be some concrete steps that we as an industry needs to build confidence in fund products. And I think there are a number of even simple products which deliver very competitive returns. There are products which have generated very high returns over maybe long periods of time, like maybe 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. And I think right now the challenge for the industry is to battle a perception that where investors tend to look at the immediate past and try to extrapolate that into the immediate future, which I think is not the right thing to do right now.
Okay, you spoke about retail investment and you've also spoken about the challenges. I want to just get into some specific numbers, Bala. It's of course been 2 decades since the mutual fund industry really came to the forefront, but just looking at the numbers of last year that AMFI released, about 11% growth when it comes to assets. Do you believe that's a healthy growth rate that's been released by AMFI, and we've been able to do well in spite of a challenging year last year?
Definitely. I think you'll have to look at it from 2 angles. One, with respect to the bank deposit growth. Bank deposit growth in the country has been somewhere around 15%. It had dropped as low as about 13%. Now it's close to about 15%. In that context, if you look at the mutual fund AUM growth about 11%, I think it's quite good. And that again goes to show that the mutual fund industry is, despite the environment being somewhat negative, we are able to actually grow the size. As Milind mentioned about the liquid funds growing itself actually is a proof of confidence of investors coming back to the mutual funds touching new high.
Right.
Having said that, I think we also saw an interesting trend emerging in the last few months, especially putting your confidence back on the equity funds. One that reflects on the net sales that came in the month of December to the mutual fund industries, which was to the extent of about 2,300 crores industry aggregate number. And it came actually through the larger participations coming through some of the NFO launches as well as the existing mutual fund schemes. That again goes to show that yes, there is a belief and the confidence that is coming back that given the fact that the interest rates are high and inflation is high and the GDP is at the bottom, so there is a belief that is coming actually that there is a peak actually we could expect in both in the interest rates and inflations, and we could also probably see the worst in the case of GDP when this is a period which is the asset class which could come back from the investor's point of view for a 2 to 3 years kind of time frame. The equities and asset class could come back, and this is a trend which you have seen actually globally in the last 6 to 7 months, and I see actually a similar kind of trend emerging in India too. So in that sense, if you look at it, I think the mutual fund industry is coming back in the radar of investors, purely backed by the confidence coming back, and second, the industry has been taking a lot of efforts in terms of during the challenging time being with the customers, being in the market, projecting about the mutual fund product.
Right.
As I think the drive has been, I would probably assume they're now getting increased substantially.
Right. So as Bala pointed out, Jaideep, people are talking about the fact that both interest rates and inflation seems to have peaked. Going forward, the next few quarters would improve. But looking at the data that we've seen so far, like last year we saw a lot of redemption from equity funds and more assets going into, more investments going into debt and liquid funds. This clearly, of course, is a sign of cautious investment. How exactly do you plan to change this? Because the investor base per se is not increasing.
So the way I see it is that as a mutual fund, you have to empower the investor with choices. Whether he's going to be in debt or he's going to be in equity is the choice that he needs to make. Everybody has a different risk profile, so it's not right from a mutual fund perspective to say that equity is the right product for you or some other product. Second thing is that what we have seen is there has been a huge amount of redemptions, especially from the equity schemes. If you see last year, the industry lost a large number of folios on the equity side. But what's important is that if you see the last 2-3 months, the trend has actually stabilized towards a little bit of growth. So people are looking at equity as an option, not an option, but a very, very important option as far as the portfolio is concerned, and people are making those choices.
All right. Mr. Bindal, how upbeat are you about the market going forward, say in 2014 for the industry and perspective for the next 5 years as well? Because we've also seen SEBI's reforms and guidelines just last year to sort of re-energize the sector. We've had time to take stock of possibly the impact over the last 1 year.
So I'm very optimistic, because if you see the theme behind a lot of the changes that SEBI has brought about is the benefit of the end consumer. And so the industry that thinks about the end consumer, and if consumers are happy, that industry will grow. The other point is, at the end of the day, I think we have to recognize that the industry is related to how well the capital markets do in any asset class, whether on equity or debt and all of that. And as that environment improves and as the capital markets start doing well, I think you'll find that consumers will start coming back to the industry. So from that aspect, I'm very positive as I look forward to the next 5 years.
I want to just look at some of the key or important measures that SEBI introduced, and one of them, of course, when we're talking about the road to success, is large penetration into untapped markets. And in that regard, Mr. Singh, SEBI, of course, has come out with one measure saying that there will be incentives given to distributors who sell mutual funds beyond just the top 15 when it comes to expense ratio payments. Do you believe that has in fact had an impact?
That definitely has an impact, but more than that, the challenge today is how to be present there, service the clients there. That is much more important. Yes, economics definitely works with more and more number of people, because business model will be very good for them, for the people who are coming for the first time. But the challenge is how to reach there, how to go and service them. Right. For that, definitely this extra pricing will definitely help when we go there. When we get more people, we make them new distributors. So this pricing will definitely be very, very attractive for them. Otherwise, the business model doesn't work.
We'll talk about the challenges of going into those rural markets in detail, but of course, at the crux of it is improving financial literacy as well. Because people in smaller towns and cities have their own inhibitions. They obviously look at fixed deposits when it comes to a little bit of savings that they have, if at all. So Vikas, in that regard, what are you doing to improve financial literacy?
Financial literacy is probably one small iota of it, and if I have to look at the way we are approaching financial literacy, it is very nascent. I think we need to do a lot more in terms of that. Secondly, I think whatever we do, and that's a caveat I'd just like to point out, from the industry's perspective, we are stuck between a rock and a hard situation, even in terms of communication. At the end of the day, when I talk about my product and I say invest in SIP, invest for long term, by the way, this product is subject to market risks. Which product isn't? We are the only ones who actually keep tom-tomming about it. And if you think about it from a customer's perspective, the only thing which gets stuck in his mind is the last 5 seconds, which talks about investments are subject to market risk. Then we go to him and we talk to him about color coding. Now from our point of view, it stops mis-selling. but from a customer's point of view, he looks at it as different colors and therefore different risk levels. So I think we should let the advisor do his job, we should let the financial person do his job, and we should empower the distributor a lot more. We are doing a lot as an asset management company, we are doing a lot for the customer, but I think it is now time to treat even the distributor as a customer and empower him a lot more, because that is the last mile connectivity.
Just one question about the financial literacy aspect, what AMFI has introduced, the district adoption program. Kailash, are you looking at taking up this sort of a program at your AMC?
Yes, we are taking up 5 districts in the country, and I think it's a very good initiative, because what happens is, between all of us sitting here, you're covering virtually about 100 to 200 districts overall, and when a particular AMC is responsible for a district, what you try and get is the full focus of that AMC towards doing a lot of core investor education, so it's not just an overall kind of reach that is there, but trying and converting people to come into the market and invest with us. More important, also try and get distributors try and sell to these products, which are very useful. And most importantly, most of the communication in these districts which are adopted is in the vernacular, and that really connects, and it's not really English is something which those people fear about. I think this is a great initiative, and we will be doing 5 from our side.
Okay. So Karan, you're looking at sales, of course, at Axis. You must be dealing with these distributors at a very close level as well. How supportive are you of distributors and financial advisors when it comes to extending support for business development, training requirements, education as well? What are you doing?
As far as Axis is concerned, we've recognized this entire goal-based solutions are the only way to go forward. As an AMC, we can only do 2 things: either create asset allocation products or create infrastructure for goal-based solutions. We are doing both, and over the next 1 month or so, we'll be coming back on what we've created for goal-based infrastructure.
Okay. Mr. Ladda, I'd also like to get you in here. You, of course, also have a financial advisory firm. You look into wealth management as well. There's a lot of talk about the trail-based commission model, advisory model, lots of debate around, what really is better, given the fact that the entry loads, of course, were also removed in 2009. How really do you view this situation? Do you believe the trail-based commission model is a good thing to work with?
In mutual fund, if you want to make money, you have to be there in the long term. And in the long term, client will only be there if advisor also advises him to be there. And if mutual fund goes in a trail model basis, then the incentive for advisor is also there, that investor remains invested in the schemes.
So last question, of course, I can't help but ask, what are the bets for 2014 in terms of segments or funds that you believe are suitable for the current situation, market situation? Mr. Singh?
I think, see, the best thing which 2014 can bring is to get more customers into the fold.
Right.
So there's no other way out.
I think clearly, you mentioned about this year 2014 with a lot of hopes that one, as I mentioned earlier, that interest rates have peaked and inflation has peaked, and GDP is bottomed out, and we could probably a game changer post the general elections outcome, which is scheduled for the June, and is also combined with the fact that the global economy also is picking up. So one of the asset classes all of us are, I think, turning extremely bullish is which is most underowned in the country by most of the investors, which is nothing but an equity. And that's an asset class which we believe that would probably gain momentum in the year. Only the fact is that one should not look at that investment as a 2014 investment. It should be looked at as a 3 to 5 years kind of investment.
Okay, that's of course always the one piece of advice, long term is the way to go, but a lot needs to be done, of course, when it comes to rural market penetration. On that note, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.